All right, my Dicom Blue has dried, and I mentioned that we're going to scribe a line and a point in the middle of this part so that we'll be able to know exactly where the center of this part is. Now, this part measures 2.5 inches this way by 3.5 inches that way. And I'm going to mark the center and the 3.5 first. Now, to do that, of course, half of 3.5 I know is 1 3/4. And I can kind of put this over here and start to scribe the line. Now, the only problem with this is this is a pretty narrow piece. So I have a tendency, or I could have a tendency to kind of rock this, and that's going to mess up my line, and I'm not going to be as accurate or as precise as I want. So I have another tool that I'm going to use to help me keep that perfectly perpendicular to my surface plate. And that tool here is my 1, 2, 3 block. So I'm also going to use my 1, 2, 3 block here. So I'm going to put it in and make sure that we're good to go. Notice how I'm holding this. So I'm going to bring my block, my part in here, and I'm holding this right like this. I'm going to keep that tight against my 1, 2, 3 block. So that helps stabilize that. Now all I have to do is kind of bring this up to the scribe over it, and I've got my line. So hopefully you can see that better now as you're looking. So there's the line for my 1 3/4 inches up. Now we mentioned that this dimension here is 2.5, so half of 2.5 is 1 1/4. So I'm going to come back down here real quick, and we're going to go down to 1 1/4. So get this adjustment so that I can have that correct. So there it is. Remember, you need to be looking directly at that vernier scale. So, or again, what we refer to the view normal, where we're looking at it 90 degrees. If I'm looking at it from this angle or that angle or any other angle, we get that term called parallax, and we're not going to be as accurate as our measurement calls for. So we want to try to avoid parallax. So make sure that you are bending over or squatting down a little bit so that you can be looking directly at that when you take your measurement. So, and again, here now I'm going to move this way, kind of come in here and hold this like this. With my other hand, I'll hold the base of the height gauge, and again, I'm just going to scribe that line right across there. So, and as you see now, I've got the exact center of this part, so I can kind of use that there. Maybe I take a scratch awl or something, poke at that point so I know exactly where the middle of that is. And this would be able to help me locate a hole if I needed to know exactly where it's going to fall. Now, the rest of the lab, you're going to have 4 other holes, and it's going to be dimensioned, so you're going to have to set the height gauge up and physically scribe those lines on that to get that for the rest of this lab.